Hello, bonjour, hi. I'm pleased to join you today from my office in Ottawa, which sits on the traditional territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabeg Nation. Thank you, Elder Lorna, standing ready for starting us off today in a good way with that very moving prayer. My thanks also to Dwayne Yazanowski from Caring Hearts Counseling for bringing us together for this important event. I'm sorry we can't be together in person. It's important, as you all know, as we all know, to follow public health guidelines. But I'm confident that we'll be able to gather again sooner in person rather than later. Friends, I often speak about access to justice. It's vital for all Canadians. We need to break down barriers for those who face obstacles when they need to access the justice system most. This is particularly important when we talk about victims of crime. Victims, survivors, and their families need access to support, need access to resources, and need access to information to help them navigate the justice system and to heal and work through their unresolved grief. This is even more complex for families of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Too many are dealing with an especially devastating kind of loss, never finding their loved ones, a loss that can cause deep and lasting trauma for the entire community. This is compounded by the fact that Indigenous peoples, as we know, face substantive systemic barriers in accessing justice as victims, offenders, and as families. So transformational change is needed. We need change within the justice system. We need change at the community level to improve the lot of Indigenous women, girls, Two-Spirit, and LGBTQ2A people's access to justice. This means taking concrete steps to help the families of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, many of whom have lived through unimaginable grief for so many years. It's critical that community-based organizations have the tools and the resources they need to deliver these services for these families. Our government is proud to support their efforts to fill the gaps and where needs are high, and to build on the work of community and Indigenous organizations and specialized victim service programs. So today, I'm pleased to announce continued support for Caring Hearts Counseling with funding of $332,000 over 3 years for their project to support families of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, Two-Spirit, and LGBTQA plus people. Caring Hearts Counseling is recognized for its long-standing role in providing grief counseling, bereavement and loss support, and other services to Saskatchewan residents. Thanks to its vast network of partners and communities, including those that are Indigenous-led across the province, Caring Hearts is well placed to focus on the complex needs of MMIWG families. The project is helping to provide these families with better resources and assistance through culturally appropriate education, support, and awareness. It also focuses on increasing strong Indigenous partnerships to provide cultural perspectives and foster a more culturally sensitive approach that better reflects a family's needs. As part of this, Caring Hearts is working with Indigenous partners to develop train-the-trainer models, manuals, and take-home resources, helping to bridge service gaps and build capacity in more communities. They will help provide families with the knowledge and skills to help them better cope with the terrible tragedies they have endured. Funding for this project comes from the Department of Justice Canada's Victims Fund. It supports projects that put the victims of crime at the forefront of the justice system, giving them a voice and access to the resources they need. Depuis 2016, Justice Canada a investi plus que 37 millions de dollars pour appuyer l'opération des unités pour appuyer les familles, pour justement appuyer des appuis qui sont culturellement appropriés, qui sont informés de la trauma et qui sont basés dans les communautés des familles, des filles et femmes autochtones qui ont été soulevées et tuées. Through this funding, in addition to support for Caring Hearts, we have supported 30 Indigenous-led projects to provide community-based services. This contributes to the Government of Canada's broader efforts to transform the criminal justice system and better support the needs of victims and survivors. C'est aussi une importante partie de nos efforts pour progresser vers la réconciliation et pour assurer que notre système de justice respecte et supporte les droits des peuples autochtones. Notre gouvernement est déterminé à répondre aux appels à l'action du rapport final de l'enquête nationale sur les femmes et filles autochtones disparues et assassinées, ce qui nécessite des actions de tous les paliers du gouvernement, mais aussi de toute la société. Il est affaire de tous de mettre fin à la violence contre les femmes, les filles, les personnes Two-Spirit et les membres de la communauté LGBTQIA+, autochtones au Canada. I want to commend Caring Hearts for their determination to contribute to these efforts. With their help, we can build a better future for these communities and their families. Thank you. Merci. Miigwech.
Thank you, Minister Lametti. And now we'll turn to Wayne for your remarks.
Thank you, Chantal. Thank you, Minister Lametti. My name is Dwayne Yazanowski, and I'm the Director of Education with Caring Hearts. And we are located in Regina, Saskatchewan, on the traditional, on Treaty 4 land and the home of the Métis. Caring Hearts would like to take this opportunity to thank Justice Canada and Minister Lametti for this amazing opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to develop an education model to support families of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls in a culturally sensitive and appropriate manner. Having a missing loved one is unlike any other loss that you can experience. And unless you've actually experienced this type of loss, you can't even imagine the impact it has on yourself, your family, and quite honestly, the communities. It's a loss that's full of question and uncertainty, that keeps families in a constant state of searching and a constant state of trauma. They're in a constant state of traumatic reaction, looking for support, looking for safety, and all they find a lot of times is unanswered questions while their loved one is missing. If a family feels that they cannot receive culturally appropriate and sensitive support, it adds another layer of frustration and trauma to an already unbearable and overwhelming situation that has quite honestly taken away their hope. Part of what we are trying to do with the support of Justice Canada and the Minister is to bring some hope back to these families, to help them find support in a culturally sensitive way and in a respectful manner. And over the years, Caring Hearts has worked hard to try to ensure that we are providing that support and service to families of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls in a culturally sensitive way. We have been very fortunate to be able to partner with two elders from our community that will work with us regularly. Elder Lorna Standing Ready, who you met, who has did the opening prayer for us, and Elder Harry Francis from Piapot First Nation, who also works with us. Both of the elders, Elder Lorna and Elder Harry, are available to provide individual traditional healing and counseling for families and individuals of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. As well, Elder Lorna also works with us to provide traditional sharing circles for the families if they choose to go that route. The funding that we're receiving today from Justice Canada and from Minister Lametti is providing us an opportunity to enhance and grow the work we're doing in what I would say is a true spirit of reconciliation and cooperation. It is providing Caring Hearts with the chance to build and grow partnerships with Indigenous communities throughout Saskatchewan. And we've been very fortunate over the years to develop a number of partnerships with Indigenous communities throughout Saskatchewan, in North Battleford, Prince Albert, Yorkton, La Ronge, La Crosse, right across the province. We've made some wonderful partnerships. The funding also allows us the unique opportunity to reach out to elders from many different regions of Saskatchewan and to ask them the question, what can agencies do to provide support to families in a culturally sensitive and respectful and appropriate way? The funding that we're receiving today is allowing us to hear the elders. It's allowing us to hear their teachings, their stories, their shared knowledge. And it's also allowing us to take this knowledge and record this knowledge and keep this knowledge and then share this knowledge with agencies, non-Indigenous agencies, government ministries, that will benefit all of us in understanding how to create that safe place for families of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls to go to receive supports that they need in a culturally sensitive way. We are taking the recorded knowledge and teaching from the elders, and we're combining it with what we've already learned over the years and developing a culturally appropriate education model that we're calling a toolkit that we are going to share with agencies and government. This toolkit will take what we call a two-eyed seeing approach, which means it will contain traditional Indigenous healing practices and teachings and knowledge from the elders, as well as Western therapeutic approaches to supporting the families and helping them to heal. The toolkit will be a combination of elders' videos, manuals, and guides, and as well as face-to-face education delivery services and train-the-trainer models. The goal of the toolkit is twofold. First and foremost, and most important, is to ensure that the families of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls are receiving the supports and services they need in a culturally appropriate manner, to help them ensure that they feel comfortable and safe when they are seeking those supports, and that they feel respected in their beliefs. And second is to demonstrate that a traditional approach and a Western approach can work together to support the families. And they can support each other. These two approaches can support each other in supporting families of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. And together, the Western therapeutic and the traditional healing can come together and create a support that actually really is meaningful to the families. We plan to launch our toolkit in October of 2022. We're working really hard to get that done. We have a great team here at Caring Hearts, our elder, Chantel, our research, one of our research directors, and our executive director, Shelley. And we're working really hard to be able to launch this in October 22 in Regina. And none of this would be possible without the funding support that we're receiving from Justice Canada today and from Minister Lametti. And for that, Caring Hearts is very grateful, because we are going to be able to provide the support to the families in a time that they desperately need it. And with that, I thank you, and I thank you for your support.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much, Mr. Yasinowski. We will now begin the question and answer session. A reminder to please virtually raise your hand to indicate that you would like to ask a question by clicking the little raise hand function on the Teams. If you're joining us by phone, please press *6 before asking a question. Nous allons maintenant amorcer la période de questions et réponses. N'oubliez pas de lever virtuellement la main pour poser une question. Si vous nous suivez par téléphone, veuillez appuyer sur *6 pour poser une question. The first question, Fraser Needham, please state your organization, and you have one question, one follow-up.
Morning. Yeah, thanks for taking that. Hopefully you can hear me okay on this microphone. And I'd like to just say hi to Dwayne and Lorna. I haven't seen you for a number of years, but good to see that you're still active in things and things are going well. But I guess the question is first for the Minister of Justice. I think people were perhaps, or myself, and we're expecting something a little more. And it's great that this organization is getting funding, but something a little more overarching, because it has been a while since the action plan was delivered, and there's a number of things the government is supposed to be doing, including putting an ombudsperson, a public awareness campaign, and also some other things, and funding for that. So where is that at? That's, I think, what people were expecting, is maybe, or myself, was sort of a final action plan here put in place by the government, and it's not really here. So when can we expect that, or where is that at?
Thank you, Fraser, for the question. There are a number of ministers who have a role working in partnership with Indigenous leadership across Canada, as well as groups like Caring Hearts that we're seeing today. And so this is one particular way in which the Minister of Justice can support the implementation of the MMIWG report. Minister of Crown Indigenous Relations, Minister of Indigenous Services, so Ministers Miller and Haidu will also have a role to play, and indeed their carriage of this particular file is the more direct. And so there will be other measures announced, as was announced in the plan when it was Minister Bennett who announced it in the last Parliament. So there will be more coming. This is just one step, and this is one step within my purview. And so I'm proud to be here today to make this announcement. I'm proud of the partnership with Caring Hearts, with Dwayne and Lorna and all of the others on the ground.
I guess my only follow-up would be that you know, that it has now been a few years. I mean, since this the final report was released. The inquiry was done, of course. Is the government not a bit worried about losing some of the momentum of that? They've faced a lot of criticism from, the Native Women's Association of Canada, some other organizations that have become fairly frustrated with slow-moving process here and not really putting a substantial amount of funding toward what that report calls for, and its calls for justice, and that we're now getting 2-3 years away from that. Or is there not a concern that you're losing momentum, that that this is not happening fast enough?
Look, I understand the frustration. We're pushing ahead as a government on so many different fronts on the reconciliation agenda, and a number of them fall within the portfolios of a number of different ministers. We're working with Indigenous partnership, with Indigenous leadership across Canada, and with each other, obviously. I wish it could move faster. We're pushing all of these as fast as we can, and I'm proud of the overall effort. And I understand the frustration. I wish we could have fixed it yesterday, or 5 years ago, or 20 years ago. But we will continue to do our best and make best efforts to push all of these files forward. I think Dwayne, you had wanted to add something.
Yeah, if it's all right, please. I'd just like to address the awareness portion of the question, and actually even the portion of pushing this program forward. The funding. I think what we need to understand too is that the funding that we're receiving is doing both of those. Part of our program is raising awareness throughout the province, and while I understand that for many of us, we understand the need for a program like this, and we understand the number of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls that are missing even just in Saskatchewan here. But there's also a lot of agencies that they don't quite understand the depth and the impact that's having in communities, and that's what this program is allowing us to do. And the assistance from the funding that we've received has actually built our momentum. It's allowed us to create more manuals. It's allowed us to reach out to more communities. It's allowed us to do more traveling. It's allowed us to communicate with more elders and bring elders together. So it's actually, the momentum is actually picked up with this funding in Saskatchewan for the projects and for the awareness and the importance of working with and providing supports to families of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup,
Okay,
Dwayne.
thanks very much.
Delphine, Radio-Canada, c'est à vous.
Oui, bonjour Monsieur le Ministre. J'aurais voulu que vous répétiez votre annonce pour le financement sur les 3 ans à venir en français, s'il vous plaît.
OK, juste un instant, je vais prendre mes notes. Donc, nous allons appuyer Caring Hearts Counseling de Saskatchewan avec une subvention de plus que 332 millions de dollars sur 3 ans pour appuyer les familles des femmes et filles disparues et assassinées. C'est une société, Caring Hearts Counseling, qui est reconnue pour un rôle de longue date dans l'espèce, pour donner de l'appui pour des familles qui ont subi un tel choc et ils ont des partenariats à travers le Saskatchewan, c'est avec des peuples autochtones et des peuples non autochtones à travers le Saskatchewan et ils sont prêts à mettre le focus sur les besoins des familles touchées par ces tragédies.
Et pour ma sous-question, je voulais savoir, là, vous financez, enfin, vous donnez votre appui financier à un organisme en Saskatchewan. Est-ce que c'est prévu d'en donner d'autres à d'autres organismes ailleurs au Canada, notamment au Québec?
Selon le plan, oui, on va appuyer. Ça fait partie du plan. Donc, évidemment, le focus va être sur les régions qui ont été touchées. Mais en principe, ce sont des subventions à travers le Canada qui pourraient avoir un tel appui.
Merci.
Merci beaucoup. I don't see any more hands up. So last chance, please use the raise hand function if you have a question. Oh, we have Christy Kirkup. Go ahead.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for doing this morning with us, and thanks, Minister Lametti, for giving us some details on today's announcement. I am just wondering, if I may, just as a final question in this news conference, if I know the Prime Minister did get some questions about this yesterday, but I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on the legalities or the constitutionality of the proposed tax that is being ushered in Quebec with respect to people who are unvaccinated. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy, for the question, and it's obviously an important one because it's obviously an important potential measure that's been announced. I won't give a hypothetical response. There's obviously a potential impact on the relationship of the measure to the Canada Health Act and whether it's in accord with the Canada Health Act, and there's obviously a potential relationship with charter rights and freedoms that people have, whether under the Canadian Charter or under the Quebec Charter. And as the Prime Minister said yesterday, and I will repeat this, and it is the answer, the details of what is proposed will be critical to assessing whether it's in accordance with the Canada Health Act and whether it contravenes the Charter. And until we have those details, I simply won't speculate on an answer.
Thank you. And can I just quickly ask you, has there been any indication from the province when there might be additional details that are forthcoming?
Again, I haven't had them, and I won't speculate on when they might be coming.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Olivier Boise, c'est à vous.
Oui, bonjour. Merci. J'aurais aussi peut-être une petite question rapidement là, sur un autre sujet, M. Lametti, si vous me le permettez. Je me demandais simplement si on avait une mise à jour ou une idée de quand on allait déposer le projet de loi qui avait été promis en campagne pour s'assurer que les entreprises qui exigent la preuve de vaccination puissent le faire sans crainte de poursuite. Est-ce que c'est quelque chose qui s'en vient bientôt?
Encore une fois, c'est quelque chose qui a été promis lors de la campagne, donc ça fait partie de notre plateforme et les ministres responsables sont en train de travailler là-dessus, mais je ne peux pas vous donner plus que ça sans aller contre les traditions parlementaires. OK, mais peut-être simplement, est-ce que, disons, c'est encore une priorité dans le contexte actuel, selon vous, de votre point de vue? C'était quelque chose qu'on a promis dans notre plateforme, et donc oui, c'est une priorité. Merci.
Next up, Kathleen Martins.
Hi, good morning from frosty Winnipeg. It is a pleasure to speak to you. I work for APTN, the website news, and I wanted to just follow up on my coworker Fraser's questions of earlier and ask the minister, what is the holdup in presenting the final federal action plan that was supposed to come following the final report of the MMIWG inquiry?
Thank you, Kathleen. Once again, it's a question that's better posed to the minister with carriage of the file. I have a supporting role in this, and this is my role here this morning with respect to supporting what Caring Hearts is doing and critically, importantly doing on the ground. These files are complex. We're stripping away, as I've said on other occasions, layers and layers of colonial practice and the destructive effects that it has had. So it takes time. It takes collaboration and partnership with Indigenous leadership groups across Canada and a variety of different kinds of Indigenous leadership groups across Canada. And on our government side, things take time. It is in the nature of governance. We've just come out of a federal election, and we're restarting Parliament again after having had a busy fall session. So we are pushing forward, but I think the question is better addressed by Ministers Miller and Hajdu.
Okay, thank you for that. I have a question for Elder Lorna. Elder, when you meet with the families, what do you see? And what do you hear from them is what I should say. What is the most important thing they want from you?
Miigwech, thank you for the question. My mind jumps from my traditional way and into the colonial way, so it takes me a while to respond in a good way that I was taught so long ago by Kokum and Mushum. Don't open your mouth. Listen. Learn. And look. In this technology, I can't see you, so it's hard. It's hard. But I will be seeing a person today at 1 o'clock, and I get these requests, and as an elder, we don't say no. We don't say no. Yes, we will see you, but it takes time. It takes time. So I always, when I see them, they look for help. So the best way is to take them back to our old way. Our old way of smudging, our old way of praying, our old way of calling on Geshemanito to be with us. So we do our smudge together. I carry my kit with me, and we introduce each other. We introduce each other. Where are you from? And they say, oh, I'm from so-and-so. They say different reserves. Okay. Okay, then, miigwech. Do you know so-and-so? My relatives too. So it's a time for introducing, for storytelling. And this is our concrete block, storytelling. If you have the time, like Minister here is listening today, he has that time. His heart is open. His mind is open. His whole physical being is here. His mentality is open. He is here listening to this little old woman here, But I might be a small voice crying in the wilderness. But I will be heard when it comes to missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and others, because it's impacted my life too. Yes, yes. And my heart is in what Caring Hearts does. So we listen to stories of the past, of what happened, the present now. Yes. And how did it happen? Why and where? All these questions are answered, But the most important, I think the most, is the hope that yes, we will have an answer one way or the other. So miigwech for this way of giving money, what do you call funding, so that we can go on. It costs in this day and age, it costs to travel when there's a voice calling for help. Oh, yes, I've got to do what I can in the way I was taught so long ago, to always remember to remember that each and every one of us was born with the spirit, the perfect spirit. And that's why we are here, to acknowledge our working together in spirituality. Yes, we must acknowledge that, because that is the very thing that will bring us into this world and will take us out. So, with that, I know I've gone on, but this is how I work. And thank you for listening to this old lady. Thank you, Miigwech. Notakapeitat will always remember this meeting. Miigwech, Mr. Minister, for listening to us and for providing funding for Caring Hearts. Hi, Miigwech. Amen. Ekase. That's all for now.
If you'd like to add something, go ahead, Dwayne.
Could I also add something to the question, please? Thank you, Elder Lorna, for that. I was also going to add that one of the other big things that we hear from families when we're working with them, of what they need and what they're looking for. It's an umbrella answer. What they're looking for is society recognize that they're missing, that their loved one is missing. And when I say society, I mean for all parts of society. And they're looking for, I guess, how can I put this? They're looking for, even from the media, I guess I'll say, they're looking for representation from the media. And I'm trying to, by that I mean, what we hear a lot of times is that their loved one is portrayed sometimes by the media as high-risk lifestyle or being in the wrong places. They're not looking for that. What they're looking for is just a report that their loved one is missing. They're looking for justice, police to do something. They're looking for media to do something. They're looking for us to do something. They're looking for elders to do something. They're looking for help from all aspects of our society. So I guess I just wanted to throw that out too, that this is, it's more than a one-prong approach, and it's more than one group of people or one aspect of our society that needs to help. It's everybody that needs to help, and everybody that needs to raise awareness, and everybody that needs to be part of the healing and part of the looking and part of the searching for a missing person.
Okay, thank you both.
Thank you. We have a question from Creason CTV.
Good morning. Thank you, Minister Lametti, and the other representatives for listening and taking our questions today. This funding announcement is definitely important. It will go towards MMIWG families, and that work will continue. But Minister Lametti, I want to ask you, we've heard our concerns from APTN News, our friends at APTN News. The question I have, or what I want to ask you, is what message do you have for MMIWG families that are still left with so much answers? And it's been a long time since this report was said and done. What message do you have to those families and the work that needs to be done by the federal government moving forward?
Well, again, I know it's trite to say, but it's important to repeat that our hearts are with the families, and we're going to keep pushing as a government. We pushed to have the report first of all under Minister Bennett, and that took the time that it took, but it was a good report. And the implementation of the action plan begun under Minister Bennett, it is now under the governance of Minister Miller, is also complex and is taking time, but we are pushing that forward. Ministers Haidu and myself have support roles, and we're doing what we can. Hence, I'm here today. So I would say to the families, continue to work with us. We understand, and we understand this is difficult. We are trying to support you in your trauma. We are trying to get you answers, as Dwayne and Elder Standing Ready have said. We're trying to help and be supportive on a number of different fronts with a number of different facets. And we will continue. I can assure you that Minister Miller is engaged. He's in transition on the file from Minister Bennett. I can assure you that he's engaged, and I can assure you that Minister Haidu also is engaged, and we will continue to work forward for as long as it takes. And you have our assurance in that regard.
Thank you. I
Do you
don't have a follow-up.
I noted that a few of you have joined in the past couple of minutes. So a reminder, if you do have a question, to please use the raised hand function or *6 on the phone. Pour ceux qui viennent juste de nous rejoindre, s'il te plaît, utilisez la fonction lever la main si vous avez une question. Ou *6 si vous êtes en téléphone. Seeing none, just a reminder that if you have a follow-up, you can email me or mediarelations@justice.gc.ca. Si vous avez des questions suivies, juste un petit rappel que vous pouvez m'envoyer un courriel au media@justice.gc.ca ou à mon courriel personnel. Cela fait faire notre annonce. Thank you very much to those who joined this announcement. This is the end of this important announcement. Thank you.